Tanya Wilson was hungry. She stood in the lunch line at Oak Hill High School. Her stomach made loud noises after her morning classes. She was 16 years old and one of the few black students in her school. Most of the kids were white. This made Tanya feel like she didn't fit in sometimes. The lunchroom was noisy with kids talking and laughing. Tanya was excited for lunch today. They were serving spaghetti with meat sauce, her favorite meal. When it was finally Tanya's turn, she saw Mrs. Baker, the main lunch lady, looking at her in a strange way. Mrs. Baker had worked at the school for 15 years. Students knew she was mean and played favorites. Tanya always tried to be nice even though Mrs. Baker was cold to her. "Spaghetti, please," Tanya said with a big smile. She held out her tray. Mrs. Baker hardly looked at her. She put food on Tanya's plate quickly. Tanya saw right away that something was wrong. All the other kids got hot, fresh spaghetti, but hers looked old and gray. It smelled bad too. "Mrs. Baker, I think this food is not good," Tanya said in a low voice. Mrs. Baker made an angry face. "Nothing is wrong with it. Keep moving. Other kids are waiting." Tanya didn't want to make trouble. She took her tray and went to sit with her friends Jasmine and Marcus. They could tell something was bothering Tanya. "What's wrong?" Jasmine asked. She was eating her spaghetti, which looked good. "My food is bad," Tanya said quietly. "It smells funny and looks old." She pushed her tray away. Marcus looked at her food. "Wow, that's gross. Your spaghetti looks nothing like ours. You need to tell someone." Tanya was about to get up when she saw Mrs. Baker watching her with an ugly smile. This wasn't the first time the lunch lady had been mean to her. Last week, Mrs. Baker gave Tanya a tiny piece of cake while other kids got big pieces. The week before, she told Tanya they were out of chocolate milk, then gave some to the next kid in line. Tanya took a deep breath. It was time to do something. She walked to Mr. Davis, the assistant principal. He was watching the lunchroom that day. He was always fair and nice to all students. "Mr. Davis, Mrs. Baker gave me bad food," Tanya explained. She showed him her tray. "Everyone else got good spaghetti, but mine is old and smells bad." Mr. Davis looked worried. He walked with Tanya back to the lunch line. Mrs. Baker was still serving food to kids with a fake smile on her face. "Mrs. Baker, can I talk to you for a minute?" Mr. Davis asked. He pointed to the side. Mrs. Baker's smile went away. "I'm busy. Serving lunch?" "This will be quick," he said. He showed her Tanya's tray. "Did you see that this food was bad before you gave it to her?" Mrs. Baker's face turned red. "All the food is the same. Maybe she's just being picky." Mr. Davis looked at her with serious eyes. "This spaghetti is clearly old and smells bad. Please give Tanya fresh food now." Mrs. Baker made an angry sound. She grabbed Tanya's tray and dumped the food in the trash can. Then she got fresh spaghetti from a different container that was hidden behind the main one. This spaghetti was hot and had lots of sauce. It looked totally different. "Thank you," Tanya said, but Mrs. Baker ignored her. As Tanya started walking back to her table with her new food, she heard a loud noise behind her. Mrs. Baker had knocked over the container with the bad spaghetti. A big mess of old smelly food spilled all over her white uniform. As she tried to clean it up fast, she slipped on the wet floor and fell down hard on her bottom. The lunchroom got quiet for a second. Then kids started whispering. Mrs. Baker's face was bright red as she tried to get up. Her white clothes were now covered in gross old spaghetti sauce. The bad smell was all over her. Mr. Davis helped her stand up. "Are you okay, Mrs. Baker?" he asked, still being nice even though she had done something wrong. "I'm fine," she said in an angry voice. She tried to clean the food off her clothes. The smell made her face look sick. Mr. Davis looked at the container of bad food, then back at Mrs. Baker with a serious face. "We need to talk in my office after lunch. We have strict rules about food safety." Mrs. Baker's face turned white. She knew she was in big trouble. Giving bad food to kids could make them sick. She could lose her job. Tanya went back to her table. Her friends had seen everything. "Are you okay?" Jasmine asked, worried about her friend. "I'm good now," Tanya said, looking at her fresh spaghetti. "I just wanted to be treated the same as everyone else." The next day, Tanya went to the lunchroom and saw that Mrs. Baker wasn't there. Instead, there was a new lunch lady named Mrs. Johnson. She had a kind face and greeted all the students with a warm smile. During lunch, the principal, Mr. Wilson, made an announcement that surprised everyone. "Students, I want to tell you that we are making changes to how we handle food in our cafeteria. Every student deserves good, fresh food, no matter who they are. We will not allow any kind of unfair treatment in our school." He didn't say Mrs. Baker's name, but everyone knew what he meant. Word spread fast that she was suspended while the school looked into what happened. Other students started talking about times when Mrs. Baker had been mean to them too. After school, Mr. Davis stopped Tanya in the hallway. "Tanya, I want to thank you for telling me about the food yesterday. It was brave of you to speak up." Tanya nodded. "I just want everyone to be treated fairly." "Your actions helped us find a bigger problem," Mr. Davis said. "Many other students have told us about similar problems with Mrs. Baker. The school is taking this very seriously." A week later, the school newspaper had a story about food safety and fair treatment in the cafeteria. The article didn't name Mrs. Baker, but it said a staff member had been fired for food safety problems and treating students unfairly. The school also created a new way for students to report problems without giving their names. For Tanya, the biggest change wasn't the new lunch rules or Mrs. Baker being gone. It was seeing other students starting to speak up about unfair treatment, not just in the lunchroom but all over the school. A group of students formed to promote equality, and Tanya helped lead it. During a group meeting, Jasmine nudged Tanya's arm. "You know, if you hadn't spoken up about that bad spaghetti, none of this would have happened." Tanya smiled, looking at all the different students working together. Sometimes it just takes one person to stand up for what's right. As the school year went on, Oak Hill High School became a better place for everyone. The new lunch lady, Mrs. Johnson, learned every student's name and gave everyone the same friendly smile and good portions of food. And whenever Tanya went through the lunch line, she remembered that sometimes karma works in surprising ways, bringing justice when it's needed most. 2 weeks after Mrs. Baker was fired, things were better at Oak Hill High School. The new lunch lady, Mrs. Johnson, was kind to everyone. She always had a warm smile and made sure all students got the same good food. Tanya felt happy when she went to the lunchroom now. But not everything was perfect. Tanya still heard some kids making mean comments in the hallways. Some teachers still called on the white students more than the black students. Small things, but they still hurt. One day Tanya was walking to her math class when she heard someone call her name. She turned around and saw the principal, Mr. Wilson, waving at her. "Tanya, can you come to my office after school today?" he asked. "There's something important I want to talk to you about." Tanya felt nervous. Had she done something wrong? "Yes, Mr. Wilson, I'll be there," she said. All day, Tanya worried about the meeting. When the last bell rang, she walked slowly to the principal's office. His secretary smiled at her and told her to go right in. Mr. Wilson was sitting at his desk. Next to him was a woman Tanya had never seen before. She was wearing a nice suit and had a friendly face. "Tanya, thank you for coming," Mr. Wilson said. "This is Ms. Carter. She works for the school district office." "Nice to meet you, Tanya," Ms. Carter said, shaking her hand. "I've heard a lot about you." Tanya sat down, still feeling nervous. "Am I in trouble?" Both adults laughed. "Not at all," Mr. Wilson said. "Actually, we wanted to talk to you about something good. The school district is starting a new program about fair treatment in schools. We want you to help us." Ms. Carter nodded. "What happened with Mrs. Baker showed us that we have problems in our schools. We need to fix them. We think students should help make the changes." Tanya was surprised. "Why me?" "Because you were brave enough to speak up," Mr. Wilson said. "Not many students would do that. We need brave people like you to make our schools better." Tanya thought about it. She did want to help make things better, not just for herself but for all students who felt left out or treated unfairly. "What would I have to do?" she asked. "You would be part of a student group that meets once a week," Ms. Carter explained. "You would talk about problems in the schools and suggest ways to fix them. Your ideas would go straight to the school board." We're asking students from all the high schools in the district, Mr. Wilson added. You would be one of 2 students. From Oak Hill. Who's the other student? Tanya asked. Mr. Wilson smiled. We were hoping you might suggest someone. Tanya thought about her friends. Jasmine was smart and always stood up for what was right. Marcus was good at talking to different groups of people. But then she thought of someone else, Kevin Matthews. He was a white student who had always been nice to everyone. He was also the student body president and people listened to him. Kevin Matthews might be good, Tanya said. He cares about making the school fair for everyone. Mr. Wilson nodded. That's a great suggestion. I'll talk to him tomorrow. The next day at lunch, Tanya told her friends about the meeting. They were excited for her. This is a big deal, Jasmine said. You can really make a difference. I'm not sure, Tanya said. What if the adults don't really listen to us? What if it's just for show? You won't know unless you try, Marcus said. And if anyone can make them listen, it's you. Just then, Kevin Matthews came to their table. He was tall with brown hair and friendly blue eyes. Hey, Tanya, he said. Mr. Wilson talked to me this morning about the district committee. He said it was your idea to include me. Thanks for thinking of me. Tanya smiled. You're a good person to represent our school. I think we'll make a good team, Kevin said. I've been wanting to do something about the unfair stuff that happens here, but I didn't know how to start. What you did with Mrs. Baker was really brave. Later that week, Tanya and Kevin went to their first district meeting. Students from 5 different high schools were there. They sat in a big room at the district office. Ms. Carter led the meeting. Thank you all for coming, she said. Each of you is here because you care about making our schools fair for everyone. Today I want you to share some problems you've seen at your schools. One by one, students talked about their experiences. A Hispanic boy from Lincoln High talked about teachers who couldn't say his name right and didn't try to learn. A girl with a wheelchair from Washington High talked about parts of her school she couldn't get to. A Muslim girl from Jefferson High talked about mean comments about her hijab. When it was Tanya's turn, she told her story about Mrs. Baker and the bad food. The other students listened carefully. It wasn't just the food, Tanya explained. It was knowing that she was treating me differently because of my skin color. It made me feel like I didn't belong. Kevin spoke next. I've never had to deal with that kind of treatment, he said honestly. But I've seen it happen to my friends. It's not right and I want to help change it. After everyone had shared, Ms. Carter asked them to form small groups and write down ideas for making schools more fair. Tanya worked with Kevin and 2 students from other schools. They had many good ideas. At the end of the meeting, Ms. Carter collected all the ideas. These are excellent, she said. Next week, we'll start turning these ideas into real plans. As Tanya and Kevin walked out of the meeting, they felt good about what they had started. But they didn't know that not everyone wanted things to change. The next day at school, Tanya found a note in her locker. It said, "Stop making trouble or you'll be sorry." The words were cut out from a magazine and glued to the paper. Tanya's hands shook as she held the note. Who would send this? And why? She quickly put the note in her backpack and closed her locker. During lunch, she showed the note to Jasmine and Marcus. They both looked worried. You need to tell Mr. Davis, Marcus said. This is a threat. I don't want to make a big deal about it, Tanya said. Maybe it's just a joke. It's not funny, Jasmine said. Someone is trying to scare you. After thinking about it, Tanya decided to show the note to Mr. Davis. He took it very seriously. Thank you for bringing this to me, he said. We don't tolerate threats at this school. I'll look into this right away. That afternoon, Mr. Davis made an announcement over the school speakers. It has come to my attention that a student has received a threatening note. This behavior is completely unacceptable and goes against everything we stand for at Oak Hill. If anyone has information about this, please come forward. And remember, trying to stop progress only shows that we need to work harder for change. As Tanya left school that day, she felt both scared and determined. Someone wanted her to stop speaking up, but she wouldn't. The note showed her that her work with the district committee was important. It was making someone nervous. Are you okay? Kevin asked, catching up with her at the bus stop. I heard about the note. I'm fine, Tanya said. A little scared, but mostly angry. You shouldn't have to deal with this alone, Kevin said. From now on, let's stick together. Whoever sent that note wants to divide us. We won't let them. Tanya smiled. Thanks, Kevin. As the bus pulled up, Tanya thought about everything that had happened since that day in the lunch line. Standing up to Mrs. Baker had started something bigger than she ever expected. There would be more challenges ahead, but she wasn't facing them alone anymore. The next district meeting was in 3 days. Tanya had a lot of new ideas to share. No threatening note was going to stop her from making her school a better place for everyone. The day after Tanya got the scary note, she walked to school with Jasmine. They always met at the corner of Maple Street and walked together. Tanya kept looking around, wondering if someone was watching her. You seem nervous, Jasmine said. Tanya admitted. I keep thinking about that note. Who would send something like that? Someone who doesn't want things to change, Jasmine said. But don't worry. Most people at school support what you're doing. When they got to school, Tanya saw something that made her stop walking. On the front wall of the school, someone had painted big red words, "Go back where you belong." Students were standing around looking at the words. Teachers were trying to cover them up with paper. Mr. Wilson, the principal, was talking on his phone with an angry face. That's awful, Jasmine whispered. Do you think it's connected to your note? Before Tanya could answer, Kevin came running, up to them. Tanya, are you okay? When I saw this, I thought of you right away. I'm fine, Tanya said, but her voice shook a little. It's just paint, it can be cleaned up. Mr. Davis saw them and came over. Tanya, I'd like you to come to my office, please. We need to talk about this. In his office, Mr. Davis looked very serious. Tanya, we think this message might be connected to the note you got yesterday. Have you received any other threats? Tanya shook her head. No, just the one note. We're taking this very seriously, Mr. Davis said. The police have been called about the graffiti. It's being treated as a hate crime. We're also looking at the school security cameras to see who did this. Do you think I should quit the district committee? Tanya asked in a small voice. Mr. Davis looked surprised. Is that what you want to do? Tanya thought about it. Part of her was scared and wanted to hide, but a bigger part was angry. Why should she give up something important because someone was being mean? No, she said finally. I don't want to quit. That would let them win. Mr. Davis smiled. That's what I thought you'd say. You're a brave young woman, Tanya. But I want you to be careful. Don't go anywhere alone for a while, and report anything strange right away. When Tanya left Mr. Davis's office, Kevin was waiting for her. What did he say? Kevin asked. He thinks, the graffiti is connected to my note, Tanya said. The police are involved now. This is getting serious, Kevin said. But don't worry. You have friends who will stand by you. The next day at school, everyone was talking about the graffiti. Some students were angry about it. Others seemed to think it wasn't a big deal. Tanya tried to focus on her classes, but it was hard. During lunch, the cafeteria was buzzing with talk about what happened. Suddenly, Mr. Wilson's voice came over the speakers. Attention students and staff. I have an important announcement. Thanks. To our security cameras, we have identified the person responsible for yesterday's graffiti. The student has been suspended, and the police are handling the matter. Oak Hill High School does not tolerate hate speech or threats of any kind. A cheer went up from many students. Tanya felt relieved. Maybe now things would calm down. After school, Tanya went to her locker to get her books. When she opened it, a piece of paper fell out. Her heart beat faster as she picked it up. It was another note. This one said, "Cameras can't see everything. Watch your back." Tanya's hands shook. She looked around the hallway. Students were walking by, laughing and talking. Any one of them could have put the note in her locker. She went straight to Mr. Davis's office and showed him the note. This is very concerning, he said. It seems whoever is doing this hasn't been caught yet. Or maybe there's more than one person involved. What should I do? Tanya asked. For now, I think you should have someone with you at all times, Mr. Davis said. I'll also ask the janitor to put a new lock on your locker. That evening, Tanya's mom noticed she was quiet during dinner. Is everything okay at school? She asked. Tanya hadn't told her mom about the notes or the graffiti. She didn't want her to worry. But now she felt she had to tell the truth. Some people are upset about me being on the district committee, Tanya explained. She told her mom about the notes and the graffiti. Her mom looked worried. Maybe you should quit the committee. It's not worth you getting hurt. That's what they want, Tanya said. I can't let them scare me away. This is too important. Her mom reached across the table and took her hand. You're just like your father. He never backed down either. Tanya's dad had passed away 3 years. Ego. He had been a community activist who fought for better housing in their neighborhood. I'll support whatever you decide, her mom said. But promise me you'll be careful. The next day was the second district committee meeting. Tanya's mom drove her to the district office and said she would pick her up afterward. No more taking the bus for now. Inside, all the students from the 5 high schools were there. Ms. Carter started the meeting by addressing what had happened at Oak Hill. I want everyone to know about the threats that Tanya has received, she said. This shows exactly why our work is so important. There are people who want to keep things the way they are, even if that means some students are treated unfairly. The UI. Other students looked at Tanya with respect. A girl from Washington High raised her hand. We should make a statement supporting Tanya. Show that we stand together. That's a great idea, Ms. Carter said. The students spent the next hour writing a statement together. It talked about how all students deserve to feel safe and respected at school. It also said that threats and hate speech only showed why their work was needed. We'll send this to all the schools in the district, Ms. Carter said. We'll also send it to the local newspaper. After the meeting, as Tanya waited for her mom, a police car pulled up. A police officer got out and walked toward her. Are you Tanya Wilson? She asked. Yes, Tanya said, feeling nervous. I'm Officer Lopez, the woman said. I've been assigned to investigate the threats against you. We're taking this very seriously. Tanya was surprised. You have a police officer? Just for this? Officer Lopez smiled. Hate crimes are a priority for us. And from what I've heard, you're doing important work. I'd like to talk to you about the notes you received. Tanya felt better knowing the police were helping. When her mom arrived, Officer Lopez explained that she would be keeping an eye on their house and on Tanya at school. As they drove home, Tanya's mom asked, How was the meeting? It was good, Tanya said. The other students are supporting me and now the police are involved too. I'm proud of you, her mom said. Standing up for what's right isn't easy, but it's necessary. Tanya looked out the window. Someone was trying to scare her away from making changes at school. But instead of giving up, she was getting more support. The threats were backfiring. She thought about that day in the lunch line when Mrs. Baker gave her bad food. That small moment of unfairness had started something much bigger. Something that couldn't be stopped by mean notes or scary graffiti. Tomorrow was another school day. Tanya wasn't sure what would happen next, but she knew she wouldn't be facing it alone. The next morning, Tanya was surprised to see Officer Lopez's police car parked outside her house. The officer waved as Tanya and her mom got in their car. She's going to follow us to school, her mom explained. Just to be safe. When they arrived, at Oak Hill High, Tanya saw something that made her heart feel warm. About 50 students were standing at the front entrance. They were wearing shirts that said, Stand with Tanya, in big letters. Kevin was at the front of the group. What's all this? Tanya asked as she got out of the car. Kevin smiled. We wanted to show you that you're not alone. We made these shirts last night. Jasmine and Marcus came running over. They were wearing the shirts too. It was Kevin's idea, Jasmine said. He called everyone after the committee meeting yesterday. We're going to walk with you to all your classes today, Marcus added. No one's going to mess with you when we're around. Officer. Lopez looked at the group of students and nodded with approval. I'll be around too, she said. but it looks like you've got quite a protection team already." As Tanya walked into school surrounded by her friends and supporters, she felt strong. For the first time since getting that first note, she wasn't scared. The morning went by without any problems. In each class, there were students wearing the special shirts. Teachers smiled at her, and one even said, "It's good to see the students standing together." At lunchtime, Tanya sat with a big group at her table. They were talking and laughing like normal teenagers. For a moment, Tanya almost forgot about the threats and the hate graffiti. Then Mr. Wilson's voice came over the speakers. "Attention everyone, I need all students and staff to go to the gym right now for an emergency assembly. This is not a drill." The lunchroom got quiet. Then everyone started talking at once. What's happening? Is it another threat? Maybe it's a fire. Tanya felt her friends move closer to her as they all walked to the gym. Officer Lopez appeared beside them, her face serious. The gym filled up quickly. Teachers were counting students, making sure everyone was there. Mr. Wilson stood on a small stage at one end of the gym. He looked worried. When everyone was seated, Mr. Wilson spoke into a microphone. "Thank you all for coming so quickly. I've called this assembly because we have a serious situation. About an hour ago, we received a phone call threatening violence against our school. The caller mentioned Tanya Wilson and the District Equality Committee specifically. A scared murmur went through the crowd. Tanya felt cold all over. This was worse than notes or graffiti. Now someone was threatening the whole school because of her. "The police are here and are investigating," Mr. Wilson continued. "We're keeping everyone in the gym until we're sure the school is safe. I want to be very clear. We will not let threats stop the important work of making our schools fair for everyone. The person or people behind these threats are trying to scare us. We will not be scared." Many students clapped and cheered. Tanya noticed that most of them were wearing the Stand With Tanya shirts, but some students weren't cheering. Some were looking at her with angry faces. A boy named Brad stood up. He was a senior and played on the football team. "This is crazy," he shouted. "The whole school is in danger now because of her? Maybe she should just quit that stupid committee so we can all be safe." Before anyone could respond, Kevin jumped to his feet. "That's exactly what the person making these threats wants," he said loudly. "They want us to turn against each other. They want us to blame Tanya instead of blaming them. Don't you see? If we do that, they win." Many students clapped for Kevin. Brad sat down, his face red. Officer Lopez walked to the stage and took the microphone. "Students, I'm Officer Lopez from the Oak Hill Police Department. We are taking this threat very seriously. Officers are searching the school right now. We're also tracing the phone call that was made. Making threats like this is a serious crime with big consequences. If anyone has information about who might be doing this, please tell a teacher or police officer right away." For the next 2 hours, everyone stayed in the gym. Some teachers organized games to keep students busy. Others walked around talking to students who seemed upset. Tanya sat with her friends feeling terrible. "This is all because of me," she said quietly. "No, it's not," Jasmine said firmly. "It's because of someone who doesn't want things to change. You're not responsible for their actions." Kevin nodded. "Besides, if it wasn't you, it would be someone else trying to make things better. The real problem is that some people can't handle change." Finally, Mr. Wilson got back on the microphone. "Good news, everyone. The police have finished searching the school and found nothing dangerous. We've been given the all clear to return to classes." As students began standing up, Mr. Wilson added, "Also, I've just been informed that the police have traced the threatening call. It came from a payphone near the old mall. There are security cameras in that area, and the police are looking at the footage now." Tanya felt relieved as she walked back to class with her friends. Maybe soon they would know who was behind all this. After school, Tanya's mom picked her up. Officer Lopez talked to them before they left. "We're making progress," she said. "The security camera at the mall shows someone in a hoodie making a call at the exact time the threat came in. We can't see their face clearly, but we can tell they're an adult, not a student." "An adult?" Tanya's mom looked surprised. "Why would an adult threaten a school because of a student committee?" Officer Lopez shook her head. That's what we need to figure out. In the meantime, I'll be keeping an eye on your house tonight. At home, Tanya tried to focus on her homework, but it was hard. So much had happened in the last few days. She kept thinking about what Officer Lopez had said. An adult was making these threats, but who and why? Her phone rang. It was Kevin. "Have you seen the news?" he asked. "No," Tanya said. "What happened?" "The local TV station did a story about what's happening at our school. They interviewed Mr. Wilson and he talked about you and the committee. They're calling you a young activist fighting for equality. You're famous now." Tanya didn't know how to feel about that. On one hand, it was good that people were hearing about their work. On the other hand, being on TV might make things worse, with whoever was making the threats. Just then, Tanya's mom called her from the living room. "Tanya, come quick, you need to see this." Tanya ran into the living room. Her mom was watching the news. On the screen was a face Tanya recognized right away. It was Mrs. Baker, the lunch lady who had been fired for giving Tanya spoiled food. Former Oak Hill High School cafeteria worker Diane Baker was arrested today, the news reporter said. Police say Baker is a suspect in a series of threats made against the school and a student. Baker was fired 2 months ago after serving spoiled food to a black student. Tanya couldn't believe it. Mrs. Baker was behind all the threats? The woman had lost her job because of what she did to Tanya, and now she was trying to scare Tanya into quitting the committee. Tanya's phone started ringing nonstop. Her friends were all calling and texting about the news. It seemed like everyone had seen it. Officer Lopez called too. "I wanted you to know that Mrs. Baker is in custody," she said. "She's being charged with making threats and hate crimes. You don't need to worry about her anymore." That night, Tanya slept well for the first time in days. The person who had been threatening her was caught. She was safe now, but she couldn't help wondering, was this really the end of the story? Or was there more to come? The next morning, Tanya woke up feeling lighter. For the first time in weeks, she didn't worry about threats or scary notes. Mrs. Baker was in jail, and the police said she was the one behind everything. It was over. When Tanya got to school, things were different. Students who had never talked to her before smiled and waved. Teachers stopped her in the hallway to ask how she was doing. Even Brad, the boy who had yelled at her in the gym, nodded at her in the hallway. "You're like a celebrity now," Jasmine said as they walked to class. "Everyone saw you on the news." "I don't want to be a celebrity," Tanya said. "I just want things to be fair." "Well, you're making that happen," Jasmine said. "Did you hear? The school board is having a special meeting tonight about everything that's happened. They're going to talk about new rules for all schools in the district." At lunch, Kevin came to sit with Tanya and her friends. "Have you heard from Ms. Carter?" he asked. "The committee meeting tomorrow is going to be bigger than usual. They're inviting the school board members and the local newspaper." "No one told me," Tanya said, feeling nervous. "Why is it so big now?" "Because of what happened here," Kevin explained. "People are paying attention now. They want to hear what students have to say about making schools better." After school, Tanya went home and tried to do her homework, but she couldn't focus. She kept thinking about the committee meeting tomorrow. What would she say to the school board members? What if she messed up? Her mom came into her room. "There's someone here to see you," she said. "Officer Lopez and another police officer." Tanya went to the living room. Officer Lopez was there with a man in a suit. "Tanya, this is Detective Williams," Officer Lopez said. "He's been working on your case." "Nice to meet you, Tanya," the detective said. "I wanted to update you on Mrs. Baker's case. We searched her house yesterday and found some interesting things." "What kind of things?" Tanya asked. "We found the magazine she cut up to make those notes," he said. "We also found a diary where she wrote about her plans, and we found something else that surprised us. Names and phone numbers of 3 other people who were helping her." Tanya's stomach tightened. "Other people? Who?" "One was her son, Brad Baker," Detective Williams said. "Brad?" Tanya was shocked. "Brad Baker from my school, the one on the football team?" Officer Lopez nodded. Yes, he's the one who put the notes in your locker. His mother gave him the keys to the school. She kept them when she was fired. But why would he help her, Tanya asked. I never did anything to him. Some kids learn hate from their parents, Detective Williams said sadly. The good news is, we've talked to Brad and the others. They're all facing serious charges, but Brad has agreed to tell us everything in exchange for a lighter punishment. Is he going to be at school? Tanya asked, worried about seeing him. No, Officer Lopez said. He's been suspended, and he'll probably go to a different school next year. After the police left, Tanya called Kevin and told him about Brad. I can't believe it, Kevin said. I've known Brad since elementary school. He never seemed like someone who would do something like this. People can surprise you, Tanya said. Sometimes in bad ways. The next day was the big committee meeting. Tanya's mom took the day off work to drive her to the district office. When they arrived, Tanya was surprised to see so many cars in the parking lot. Inside, the meeting room was packed. All the student committee members were there, plus school board members, principals, teachers, parents, and even some local reporters with cameras. Ms. Carter came over to Tanya right away. There you are. Everyone wants to hear from you today. The school board is very impressed with how you've handled everything. The meeting started with Ms. Carter explaining what the committee had been working on. Then she asked Tanya to speak about her experiences. Tanya walked to the front of the room, feeling nervous with so many eyes on her. She took a deep breath and began to talk. 2 months ago, a lunch lady at my school gave me spoiled food because of the color of my skin, she said. When I spoke up about it, she got fired. Then she started threatening me because I joined this committee. She and her son and their friends tried to scare me into being quiet. The room was completely silent as everyone listened. But their plan didn't work, Tanya continued. Instead of being quiet, I got louder. And instead of being alone, I found more friends who stood with me. What happened to me shows why we need this committee. It shows why we need to talk about the unfair things that happen in our schools. Tanya talked about the ideas the student committee had come up with. Better training for teachers about treating all students fairly. Clear rules about punishment for students who say racist things. More books by diverse authors in school libraries. Anonymous ways for students to report problems. When she finished speaking, everyone clapped. Some people even stood up, giving her a standing ovation. Tanya felt her face get hot, but she also felt proud. After the meeting, many people came to talk to her. A school board member shook her hand and said, "We're voting next week on your committee's suggestions. I think they're going to pass." A reporter asked if she would do an interview for the newspaper. A parent told her that her daughter had started speaking up about unfair treatment at her own school because of Tanya's example. On the way home, Tanya's mom said, "Your father would be so proud of you today. I know I am." That night, Tanya checked her social media and was shocked to see thousands of new followers. People from all over the country had heard her story and were sending her supportive messages. Some were students who had similar experiences and were inspired by her to speak up. The next few weeks were busy. The school board passed all of the committee's suggestions, making them official rules for all schools in the district. Tanya was invited to speak at other schools about standing up against unfair treatment. A national news program did a story about her and the changes she helped create. Mrs. Baker and her son both went to court. Mrs. Baker was sentenced to 2 years in prison for making threats and hate crimes. Brad was given community service and had to take special classes about respecting people from different backgrounds. At Oak Hill High School, things were changing. Teachers took training about treating all students fairly. The principal started a new program where students from different backgrounds worked together on projects. The new lunch lady, Mrs. Johnson, became the head of a committee to make sure all students got the same good food. One day, almost a year after the day Mrs. Baker had given Tanya spoiled food, Tanya stood in the lunch line at school. As Mrs. Johnson served her a plate of fresh hot spaghetti with a friendly smile, Tanya thought about how much had changed. "Anything else I can get you, Tanya?" Mrs. Johnson asked. "No thanks," Tanya said. "This is perfect." As she walked to her table where friends of different races sat together laughing and talking, Tanya felt at peace. What had started as a small act of unfairness had led to big changes that helped many people. Sometimes karma works in surprising ways, she thought. Mrs. Baker had wanted to hurt her, but instead, she had started something powerful that couldn't be stopped. Something that made the world a little bit better for everyone, and it all began with a plate of spoiled food.